subtly put like this thing that maybe Judaism isn't so bad in there, even though like the audience was expecting it to be anti-Semitic?
Yeah, I think the only way to figure it out is to look into yourself in the audience. None of the characters speaks for the play. Antonio's attitude towards Judaism is not the play's attitude, nor is Shylock's, nor is Jessica's. It's the result of what walks out of the room with you that's the play's attitude. And the play's anti-Semitic if you walk out of here more anti-Semitic than you walked in. And it isn't if you don't. It's very, very painful to do. Because I don't think it gives you an easy answer. You know, it doesn't. And one of the things about, I think, Darko's direction is he loves giving you two answers to one question, which is a very Jewish way of approaching things.
What's so delicious about this play, this production, I should say, but Shakespeare in general, is that there's nothing is black and white. You know, there's so much gray matter in this play, but also in the canon, which is, I think, one of the main elements that's allowed it to survive, to thrive for almost 5 centuries, is that there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody in this play is, in one moment, charming, and in another moment, repulsive. And I think if we all, take a good look at ourselves, we find that we can be that too. It's funny. I'm reading program notes and different things about this play, and renowned scholars say it's an anti-Semitic play, and it just doesn't make any sense to me how anybody could call this an anti-Semitic play when Shakespeare gives Shylock some of the speeches that he does about which just are so human and beautiful and revealing.
But I think you have to be respectful of how dangerous it is. At the end of the day, for children, it's still a Jew holding a knife, and for people who are scarred in one way or another, it's still a Jew holding a knife. It's not a Jew holding a knife. And so it's really important to respect that. Do you know what I mean? I think oftentimes when we'll do the play for, not in this production, but another production I've been involved in, for young people, we'll do a workshop beforehand. Well, they'll do some of the play first. Because it's, and honestly, I asked my father the second time I did the play, this is my 4th time. I said, "You going to come see it?" He said, "No, I saw all that earlier. I saw that before," which meant in the 30s in Germany. He didn't want to see it again. So, it needs respect.
I think you
I was going to ask just if you could talk about the relationship between Lusanio and Antonio and the decision to have the kiss in the courtrooms.
Well, as Kate said, I came to this process late. I replaced an actor, and so I flew to Boston and watched the show and rehearsed it for a few days. And had basically, these are all, none of these choices that you see are really kind of like the bones of them are mine. I like the kiss. The kiss, for me as an actor, represents Bassanio's overwhelming guilt about having manipulated someone that he knows is infatuated or in love with him in order to get what he needs. And we can never really understand or see at the moment that we do something where the ripples are going to land. And the fact that in that moment, this is what it's come to, that people's lives are at stake. The kiss to me represents an apology, giving him something that I think he wants, but ultimately he's unable to, fully invest in it. It's pathetic. It's sad. So that's, I think, in terms of like sexuality, I think that's where Bassanio is operating from. I'm sure that he loves it.
It varies from production to production. In this production, I think Antonio's barely out to himself and doesn't realize he's out to everybody. He really, that's the problem. I think a lot of my anti-Semitism is self-hatred, that I'm bumping off into some other direction. And I can't quite even acknowledge what my sexuality actually is. And that's when I find it out. So it's at the same time like a huge tragedy and a huge relief to, you know what I mean? And whether the kiss is sexual or not, it almost doesn't matter because I find out about what my own condition is. I think dramatically, the kiss is really important because I think it just runs the stakes up a mile high for Portia.
I love it.
And creates the kind of cruelty towards Shylock. After that, everybody just is at their worst until the fifth act. And the fifth act, it makes, in a sense, it makes sense of the fifth act in certain ways. So I think it's, and he's a great kisser.
You don't know half of it.
Speaking of anti-Semitism and the courtroom scene, actually.